Hi, Chris Araga. In Nigeria, as a nation, we need to build institutions. At the moment, what we have are agencies, and that's why you find that we have the educational institution, we have the justice institution, we have our political institution, we have the health institutions, and they are not working. They're not working, and they can't even talk to each other. What we do is we rely on strong men. So an institution in Nigeria is as strong as the person that is leading this institution. That is not going to work. By the way, I just want to say thank you to those who've been watching these videos. I really appreciate the time that you're spending to listen to my rants. I hope this will be helpful, but I want to show today why we cannot build institutions without building the fundamental institution of our nation. And I'm going to use this diagram to illustrate, and I hope that my point will come across as clear as my intelligence would carry me. So let's assume that this is the nation, Nigeria. And within this nation, there are institutions. Let's say, I'm going to just limit it to 4 for the sake of argument. Let's say there is the justice system. Okay, so the justice institution. Let's say there is the welfare. The welfare. And then we have education. And then we have the economy. These are all institutions that are based on one institution. So they look like this. Okay. So there is an institution in the middle here that gives life to this other institution. Now, if this institution is diseased, this other institution, you can upgrade it all you like. You can make this institution as robust as you like. It's not going to last. Let me just explain what I mean by that. So this institution is called culture. And when I say culture, I mean the cultural operating system, i.e. our mindset. Our mindset, i.e. the way we think, the way we process things, the way we see justice, the way we see our values, how they hang together, our mindset, how we operate based on our values. So let's assume that, so if you want these other institutions to work, you have to make sure that you have built this institution. So before we waste time building justice, education, welfare, economy, we have to understand that this is the core that these other institutions rely on to operate. So let's put it this way. So this institution are fed from the culture. Okay, so if this institution is strong, initially it will be strong. For example, when the colonial masters left, they left us an educational institution, and there were schools that were that were run by churches, and things went well. It was okay. But the problem was that the culture that was in existence then, it's not compatible with the institution that we had. Okay, so the institution was given to us, was, if you like, copied and pasted onto us. So it's like, so it was like a surgery that didn't quite work out. So now the culture is rejecting the educational institution. That's why you see, if you're 40, 50 or over, and you go back to your secondary school, you will not recognize it. If you go to the ministry, they are hindrance to good educational policies. They don't, because it's not settling in. It will not gel. So what we need to do is that we need to leave these ones alone for now. See, I think we need to leave these institutions alone, and we need to spend time, focusing on the cultural operating system. Okay, we need to focus on that. How do we focus on that? There's a need. If you want to change something, you need to first understand it. Many of us don't understand the culture. We don't understand how we operate because we haven't had time to stop to really think why I am doing what I am doing. Nobody operates in isolation of a culture. You cannot do it. You cannot operate, in a vacuum. There's a culture. There are norms. There are do's and don'ts. There are boundaries. There are no-go areas. There are things that come together to help you make decisions. And embedded in culture is a very important function that's called moral courage. This moral courage, that's what helps you to do the right thing in the face of opposition. Now, if that has been watered down while you're growing up, then there's a need for us to correct that. So for me, it is important to deconstruct our culture, i.e., what do I mean by that? I mean, we need to outline the constituents of culture, and then begin to understand what they are. Okay? Many people think they understand the African culture. They think they understand the Nigerian culture, but they don't. What they're doing is that they can describe the culture. Their analysis is purely descriptive. They haven't really analyzed and gotten to the underbelly of the culture and understand why we are the way we are. The other thing that I want to say as I close is that the culture that we have today was perfect for 200 years ago. For the 21st century, we have no chance. We have no chance. Therefore, we need to deconstruct the culture. We need to break it down and then put them back together again, put the culture back together again, but living out the beat of the culture that is not progressive. Like I've always said, we are not supposed to serve the culture. The culture is supposed to serve us. We're supposed to use the culture to make our lives better. We're not supposed to do something because it is our culture to do so. We're supposed to do something because it is our culture and it is correct to do it for today. If you want to preserve a culture, you preserve a culture in museums, in art, in drama. You can even set up places where people can go and reenact how people used to live. We need to stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. We must stop standing on the same muddy ground that they stood. If our great-great-great-grandfather were to come back today and to live in our community, they will not be lost because we do things exactly as they did it. And there are adages, there are proverbs that are put in place to make sure that we cannot step outside of the culture. That is not progressive. That is what I think we need to do. Deconstruct the culture and then bring it back together again, leaving out those that are no longer relevant. Thank Thank you very much for listening. Chris Oraga, Radiscussion.